Hi everyone, Shawna here, and I owe you some questions from March. It is now May. I am so sorry for the delay. We've shot and reshot a few times, and I've realized the only way I am ever going to get questions out to you is by doing a few at a time in the middle of the day whenever I can, rather than one long 40-minute segment in high definition. So you get shorter segments off my cell phone, but at least we have a video at last. So let's get to a few questions. Prannoy2709 asks, what is my native place of origin? So thanks for your question, Pranay. I am Canadian. I was born in Brandon, Manitoba, brought up in Sherwood Park, Alberta. That being said, my ethnic origin is East Indian. My entire extended family is from India, specifically the Mumbai region. So I am lucky enough to have origins both in Canada and India. Next question. Kavian Taizan says, just say hello to me, that's enough. So Kavian, hi, thanks so much for stopping by. Mike Westby. Hi, Mike. It's been a while since I've seen you in person. Mike asks, how do you think astigmatism would be affected in microgravity? So thanks for that question, Mike. I tried to look up the literature, but there's actually not too much on it. And here's my speculation. So in terms of vision requirements and astigmatism and myopia requirements, all the major space agencies have cutoffs. So you can only have a minimum degree of astigmatism to be qualified for spaceflight. That being said, since 2012, in the space medicine sphere, we've been finding that vision tends to be affected by long-duration spaceflight. And the rationale or the thinking behind that is that with zero gravity, there tends to be a fluid shift. All the fluids in our body tends to shift upwards, including to our eyeballs. There tends to be more pressure. Our eyeball is distorted in shape, not just the sclera or the eyeball, or not just the eyeball itself, but that includes the lens, the cornea. There tends to be more pressure on the optic nerve. So based on speculation, I suspect that astigmatism, which is an asymmetry of the cornea, would tend to be exacerbated in 0G. Just because of the increased fluid. So thanks for that. That was a really good question, Mike. Next question. Average Savage, does the amount of force required to break bones increase or decrease in space? So that's a really good question. So Average Savage, thanks for your question. So when you're thinking of a bone is, the amount of force in and of itself stays the same with an asterisk. So the asterisk being that due to the lack of weight, especially on axial bones, so our pelvis, our spine, means we tend to leach calcium and become osteoporotic in space. So because of that, our bones actually become weaker. So with the same amount of force, you could probably fracture a bone. So there's two answers. If your bones did not become weaker in space, there would not be more change in the force required to break a bone. That being said, because we know bones become weaker in space, we probably can expect that it takes less force to break a bone in space. Moving on to martial arts now. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold here. Melly De Silva wants to know when and how I started my martial arts training, and Melly is interested in kickboxing and try to explore the same in Mumbai. So Melly, thanks so much for that question. I have been involved in Taekwondo since 1999, so almost 18 years now. That's an entire adult here in North America. And I've been dabbling in Muay Thai since 2014. So I always knew I wanted to get a black belt in something. Taekwondo sounded really interesting to me. And then just as a matter of proximity, there happened to be a Taekwondo dojang right across the street from my dad's clinic. So I was 15 when I started. And I would just go to Taekwondo class, and then I'd head over to my dad's clinic, and the rest is history. So right now I'm a first degree black belt, about to test for my second degree black belt in about 3 weeks here. So hopefully that goes well. Um, and then you're interested in exploring the same in Mumbai. So have fun. Figure out what kind of martial art you want to learn. Do you want to learn a striking martial art? Do you want to learn a more artistic martial art where there's a lot of forms and movement? Do you want to learn a grappling or a ground martial art? Have fun. Find somewhere that's close to you that you'll go to that encompasses the type of technique you want to learn. And feel free to explore. You'll have a lot of fun with it. All right, so I promised to keep this short. We're getting to 5 minutes here. So the last question I will answer today comes from Chris Scott. So Chris asks, how do I become more resilient? So Chris, thank you for touching on one of my favorite topics, that's psychological resilience. So my answer to you, Chris, is the research on psychology and psychological resilience is actually quite abundant. And what we've found is that resilience isn't an innate quality. Resilience is something that can be learned. And in fact, when you break down resilience, it can be broken down to 5 key components. So impulse control. So if you want to give up, or if you want to be angry, or if you want to be sad and give into that sadness, impulse control is a key factor of resilience. Positive self-talk, telling yourself that you've got this. Mental rehearsal. So if you have a big board presentation, if you're about to go into the ring for a fight, if you are about to even ask someone out, mental rehearsal for both the best and the worst case scenarios. Positive social support systems. So having people that you can talk to, having people who will cheer you on. That's the 4th component. And then just breaking things down. So if you have a marathon to run, break it down to quarters. Break it down to thirds. If you have a big presentation or big assignment to start, just put pen to paper. Start with an outline. Whatever it is that you have in front of you, it can always be broken down. So don't worry, Chris. Resilience is extremely learnable. I think I just made up a word there. You can learn resilience. And for me, I always think of the 5 key components. And that's where I would start. So bye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get more quick and dirty messages. Hopefully next time I won't be in my scrubs. Have a great day and leave your comments below. Thanks.